Imagine a game where you get to play as a secret agent, and if you complete your mission, you'll fix everything wrong with the 20th century. Both world wars, gone, forgotten. Anastasia can just go live to be a normal princess in communism, and everything after it just doesn't happen. All you have to do as the player is get a painting by a young man named Adolf off of the Titanic before it sinks. Yeah, you're thinking of the right guy. And if you screw it up, you get this scene. But that's only if you fail to disarm the suitcase bomb. Alright, so I'm still riding the nostalgia train down to the tracks of games I should have played as a child but didn't. Look at what I found on Steam for like $10. The thing in this situation is that I actually did own this game as a child. I played it for hours and hours on the family computer. But I can also tell you exactly how far I got in it, which is not far at all. I was a rule follower. So when this man told me that passengers weren't allowed, I believed him, and I just went back to walking around the ship and clicking on things in the gymnasium. What? Sorry, Penny. I tried to get the Rubaiyat, but passengers aren't allowed in the engine room, duh. Actually, that's a lie. I did get further. I had my dad do this puzzle for me, and then I never figured out how to not get shot to death by this man. But considering that's like 2 whole minutes later, I don't really think it counts. So instead of actually playing the game, my child self would exit, hit this handy little tour button, and just spend hours walking around on the Titanic. It never hit an iceberg, it never sank, and there were never any suitcase bombs. It was just a cold, moonless night that went on forever. I still haven't really decided if it was a good or bad thing that my 33-year-old self went back to play it for realsies. I got every ending, and I have a surprising amount of complex feelings. You know what? Let's start by explaining what the hell is happening here. Titanic, Adventure Out of Time is a point-and-click FMV released by Cyberflix Incorporated on January 1st, 1996. Happy New Year! It's lauded for its historic accuracy and attention to fine detail. Which, after binging a metric fuck-ton of documentaries and reading a bunch of books since childhood, I can confirm that it is incredibly thoughtful about the minute details of history. Until it's not, but the recreation of the Titanic itself, the hyper-detailed roleplay and interaction with NPCs is impressive. It's realistic to the point of being frustrating sometimes. It is awesome. This is not a game that you play casually while listening to a podcast or watching Netflix. This is the sort of game where you sit down, sober as a nun, with a notebook and a pen to read a ton of dialogue while working on your social stealth. And even with that, you may very well still need a walkthrough. I loved it. I was on a work trip, just sitting in my hotel room in silence while Smethles served the resting bitch face this side of 1912. Or Smethles thinks I'm an idiot. Both seem like valid options. So the game actually starts on April 14th, 1942. In the middle of the London Blitz, our playable character Carlson is dealing with some 30-year-old trauma. Not only did he survive the Titanic disaster, and therefore witness all that could be witnessed, but also the tragedy is directly responsible for him being discharged from military service. Now he/we live in a little apartment with a landlady who screams at us for back due rent if we try and leave. Then, surprise! Carlson's apartment gets blown up with him and the cupboard full of roaches. Instead of dying, or possibly a fever dream while dying, we're sent back to the night of April 14th, 1912, on board the Titanic. This is our second chance to get the mission right and change history. Does changing history include changing the fate of the Titanic? No, absolutely not. As established in Doctor Who, the Titanic is a canon event in history. And not even if we try giving binoculars to the deck officers does it do jack shit. It really is the event of too many cascading failures. And even the psychic on board keeps reiterating that the Titanic is a ship of destiny. But we can get that mission done for the British government, and maybe life won't be so miserable in 30 years. So after Smethles monologues the manual at us, we go to meet the mysterious PP in the gymnasium by the electric chamomile. None of this is supposed to be funny, but I was already having a blast. We've actually got a pretty nice little room, a nice little steamer trunk with a phonograph and a decoding machine. Sweet. P.S. PP is Penny Pringle, our handler/boss with the British Secret Service. We're not even here on an important, fate of the world mission. We're here because some rich asshole had his old-ass book of poetry stolen, and we're stealing it back. Interesting use of taxpayer money, but you know what? This is a video game, so we move. There are a few ways you can do this, but the way I did it was to overdo it. First, I talked to these two super sus German guys, and the older one, Zeidel, kept going on about the miracle of the telegraph. Also, he had left his pipe behind. Alright, so where do I start? I go ahead and run my ass up to the wireless room to see if he sent out anything I can run through that decoder machine I brought. First, though, in order to get there, I have to get cool with Officer Morrow. I let him open up about some of the crazy shit he saw in the war, and that's really enough for us to become bros. He lets me go check out the wireless room, just to sate my curiosity. As soon as I get in there, I immediately started stealing people's personal correspondence. Just the whole stack, not even just Zeidel. Also, plenty of incoming warnings about ice ahead. That's not ominous at all.
The Titanic responded, "Shut up, I'm busy."
But yeah, alright, the one that looks like a code? Totally a code. Before I do that though, I want to see what that psychic Leyland Trask has to say about this pipe that Zeidel left behind. I made Trask look at every piece of scrap and trash I found on this damn ship. And to his credit, very few of his readings were psychic in nature. Half the time, he's just like, "Oh yeah, I remember that prayer card. The preacher tried to give me one because he's convinced I'm going to hell." Or, "Wow, that pipe looks like it was somewhere crazy humid recently. Maybe check the sauna?" I actually really appreciate that about him. So many other psychics would have just used that same deduction to make up some fantastical bullshit to impress me, like, "These cigarettes have been kissed by the lips of death." Instead, he's just like, "Oh, yeah, I saw Max Zeidelman smoking that brand in the second-class dining room." There are a ton of passengers on board with a ton of names, and I very quickly discovered that Carlson must be one of the worst undercover agents ever. I swear, everyone on board recognizes him from somewhere else. Like Lady Georgia, my friend or maybe former lover. I genuinely didn't realize we had a romantic thing going on until she tried to get me to leave on a lifeboat with her to start a new life. I thought we were just old friends. Then there's also Daisy Cashmore over here, who is just swimming in all the possible tea on board. If there is gossip to be had, either Daisy or these two will materialize to tell us about it against our will. So I go ahead and decode that message and find out where the Rubaiyat is stashed on the ship, and also that there is definitely some sort of high-value black market exchange happening with it. Must be for something good. Meanwhile, turns out that old friend/girlfriend of mine, Georgia, is in a loveless marriage because her drunk husband lost all their money and she needs help. Yeah, it sucks. I'm hiding her necklace for her so that her soon-to-be ex can't hawk it. But the purser is yet another person on this ship who cannot handle their own problems. So I also ended up picking up some fetch quests to earn his trust that I needed in order to tell Daisy, who was making eyes at her over dinner. Carlson, when I play him, just lives for the drama. Word to the wise, handle your own shit or else your FBI agent might just have to get involved. There's a lot of walking in this game, but I really do not mind. The Titanic was beautiful, and they went out of their way to recreate every possible detail of it in this game. Fun fact, William Boyles Jr., one of the writers on Apollo 13, was a historical and photo researcher for the game. The animations and plans that they used for the game have actually been used in documentaries and actual research expeditions because of how accurate they are, which is pretty dope. Now, this is where I stayed forever stranded as a child. Notice, we are still at the beginning. So, first, while I'm en route to go pick up this priceless book of poetry from a coal chute, we run into a crew member who needs help with the engine running rough. And I guess I just have one of those faces because he totally lets me have a hand at trying to fix the engine of this gazillion-dollar wonder of modern machinery. Luckily, I was actually able to solve it and not, blow the ship up. I can't do that until later. And then just beyond him is this incredibly sketchy-looking stowaway, Vlad. I guess my guy in the engine room just missed you? Well, I'm not a snitch, so I'm not going to tell. Although maybe I should, since you're the same asshole that kept shooting me as a child. The trick of it is to get this guy to leave before we retrieve the book, but also before he can find it. As a kid, I just kept trying to hide the book in my bag, but that doesn't work. Instead, it really is as simple as moving it from coal chute 4 to coal chute 5. Also, while you're down here, you have to have a little insult off with one of the firemen and make yet another friend. The trick is to call him a landlubber. Good luck on your date, my dude. I genuinely hope you both have as good a time as possible. All things considered, you know? Also, Vlad, as far as he tells us, just needs some fresh clothes from his friend Sasha, who actually bought a ticket. Sasha, that sounds familiar. Oh shit! This is that art dealer that Georgia's been screwing around on her shitty husband Charles with. Interesting. Oh, hi, Charles. Imagine running into you here. So, surprise, Sasha is just as greasy as he looks. And he and Charles actually have a whole thing set up to steal Georgia's jewels and lock her in an asylum. I don't usually yuck another person's yum, but this guy is an abusive asshole, so... Charles Lambeth, sir, you are, in a purely derogatory sense, and spoiler, I'm glad you don't make it onto any of the lifeboats at the end. And Sasha is in black market dealings with Zeidel. Turns out he's trading a painting for the Rubaiyat for some top secret reasons. And so of course I have to dig in deeper. Carlson must be either crazy handsome or crazy charismatic or both. Because people are just dying to spill their guts out to us. Like Willie, one of the weird Germans who actually turns out to be pretty chill, pretty cool. He likes to write down the names of his friends in his notebook. And he also doesn't trust Zeidel for shit. He also found a new boo on the ship and has decided to turn over a new leaf by hitting us up with cryptic warnings. Surprise, Willie dies a horrible death before the ship even sinks. Now Penny and I are extra curious about the names in that notebook, as well as that painting. Sucks to be me though. Because by the time that I finally fetched some cufflinks for the purser, so that I could steal a glance at the cargo manifest, someone else already stole the damn painting. Shit. And that one genuinely was on me. Apparently you can grab the painting already, but my ass screwed up somewhere. Maybe I spent too long making friends with the crew. But life's too short to be an asshole to the people taking care of you, you know? These guys have hard jobs that are only going to get harder as the night goes on. The least I can do is shoot the breeze with them for a minute. And that's the tricky thing about this game. I am legitimately having a blast playing it. It is fun. And it is legitimately just a good game. But it is also sad as shit. Maybe it's a little easier on me that I can only see like a dozen unique faces that may or may not drown tonight, but it's also this looming specter of history and actual death over the game that makes the dramatic irony extra dramatic. It's incredibly effective. They can also be uncomfortable to sit with at times. So I finally found where Willie hid the notebook of his friends' names, but basically at the same time that Vlad and Zeidel did too. Now for a sentence I cannot believe I'm about to say. Luckily, the Titanic strikes the iceberg. I am so going to hell someday. Worth it. So because the Titanic luckily struck the iceberg, it was enough to keep me from getting murdered by Zeidel, only to get beaten over the head by Vlad, who steals the notebook. I don't even think he's a part of that part of the plan. Like, he doesn't even know what's in it. So after I wake up in my stateroom, like it's Stardew Valley and Linus took my stuff, Penny hops in, wearing a life jacket, to redirect the plan. The ship is sinking, and from this point on, the game runs in real time, which is actually really cool and incredibly stressful. Like, I'm over here trying to get Trask to do a psychic reading on a scarf, only to get interrupted with cutscenes of emergency flares and people screaming. It really is an incredibly effective method of demonstrating just how quickly the ship sank. The thing about Willie's stupid notebook is, it's got the names of Bolsheviks and sympathizers, and apparently Penny and I are pro-Tsar, and now the mission has gone from retrieve the stolen expensive book to retrieve the poetry book, George's real jewels, Sasha's painting, and Willie's notebook. And also, don't die on the sinking ship. Okay, I mean, that's just 4 things. I can do that.
Like those 2 immigrants on the second-class stairwell. Really, something should be done. The woman's quite upset.
Oh, yeah. So in all the running around to steal artifacts like I'm the British Museum, I run into this lovely young Irish mother. She was abused and impregnated by her boss and has now run away for the chance at a better life in America. But her luck sucks, because not only is she on the Titanic, so is the predator boss and his baby-snatching wife. And they want to shut her up. She knows that he sold crappy sulfurous steel to make the Titanic, and if that gets out, everyone is ruined. You know, not to talk about the ship that is actively sinking. It wasn't sinking when she told me this. So she and her brother, though, are now locked and panicking in the second-class stairwell because that monstrous wife took advantage of the situation to steal Sheila's baby. I negotiate a ransom with her, the steal secret for the baby, and because this bitch has no soul, she gives that baby up no problem. Then Sheila's brother gives me the painting that I've been looking for before stepping aside to die on the ship. But at least Sheila and the baby are gonna make it. That's like one good deed done for the night. Bam! Already making history better. All right, let's refocus here. I need that damn notebook. Where is Zeidel? In his stateroom. Let's go! And there's no notebook in here. But what's the suitcase? Oh, god damn it, it's a bomb.
Oh, fucking damn it.
All right, we already established that I'm going to hell, but I know that some of you laughed at that too, so I'll be in good company. See you there. But yeah, all right, that's right. Zeidel didn't get the notebook from me in my playthrough. Vlad did. I just forgot that he existed because Zeidel was like way more interesting. Also, Zeidel killed someone tonight. I kind of forgot about Vlad. He hasn't killed me since I was a kid. But I'm seriously running out of time. The boats are about to go. And my friendship with Morrow is only going to get me so far. Grimly accepting that I'm just not going to get the notebook. I hop my happy ass into a lifeboat and I watch the Titanic sink while listening to the constant death scream loops. But I did the best I could and marched forward into a new dawn. In this new dawn, the Black Hand never received the necessary funds from Vlad and Sasha to assassinate Archduke Ferdinand. And World War I never happened. The painting we were after had some plans on the back that turned out to be worthless. But by the novelty of being the only painting saved from the Titanic, the courtyard of the residency of Old Munich made its painter, Adolf Hitler, a famous painter more concerned with making money than with genocide, and World War II is also avoided. And that's not all! Because Carlson didn't really complete the mission. The Notebook of Revolutionaries never made its way to the Tsar, and so the Soviet Union did rise. And without the world wars to divert the violence, the revolution continued across the world while Carson sits in his crappy apartment and gets straight up executed by communists. Oh, wow. So instead of processing that, my ass just went back to an earlier save and decided to see what I could make happen. First, it turns out that Vlad has also killed this knight. Sasha, specifically. That cleans up that loose end, and I've got the notebook. So that's good. Willie's girlfriend decided to go down with the ship out of love and gave me her scarf a while back. So I just traded that with Vlad so that he can pretend to be a woman to get on the lifeboats. And now I can give that notebook of Bolshevik names to the British government. This all feels way above my philosophical pay grade. And I'm really starting to question Carlson's life decisions. But we're in the hole already, so let's keep digging. Oh, wait, what about Georgia? I never figured out what happened with her. Huh. Oh shit, Zeidel poisoned Georgia? Alright, I don't fully believe him. I think he might be bullshitting me. But let's see. Oh my god, that was not a bluff. I totally let Georgia die before, and I didn't even realize. Damn. Alright, so Georgia. I go into this what-if world and everything is just fine. And perfect. War in the 20th century was eliminated and the golden age continues. Except that just sounds so exceptionally fictional. Maybe this is the problem with me and just like where I sit in history. But it just sounds like a different form of oppression. Decades of loss and reflection and reconstruction washed away on the waves of feel-good fiction because some white guy stole back a couple of books and paintings. But isn't that supposed to be better? Isn't it objectively better to go through a world where massive world-shaking wars just didn't happen? Where the atrocities of World War II never happened? So why do I feel so gross pretending for a game? A game, I remind you, that is set around a real tragedy that killed 1,500 people. It also has an undeniably Eurocentric view of history. I don't doubt that processing history through fiction can be incredibly powerful, cathartic, and really help us understand the consequences of the reality that did happen. I was hooting and hollering in the theater with everyone else watching the end of Inglorious Basterds on days when you can still actively feel the very hot impacts of the Cold War. It's easy to daydream of a world where none of it ever happened. We're taking a rolled up painting and a notebook onto a lifeboat could have saved 85 million lives. But that will never be anything but fantasy. And to live in that fantasy is to ignore the actual loss, consequences, and evolution that have genuinely happened in the wake of it. And I'm not trying to shame a 30-year-old game for being a game. I am fully aware that I can just click on my little lifesaver, hit quit, and I am right back in this sad but beautiful, complicated reality. Ooh, speaking of, I wonder what happens if I don't get off the ship. Like, if I don't take up Morrow on his offer, or Penny, or these two, or play blackjack and win a tarot card from this guy, what if I just wait out the clock and hang out with these losers at the end? Yeah, that's right. Suck my dick, Zeidel and Charles. Y'all are coming down with me. Trask, it was really good knowing you, my man. Thanks for looking at all the random shit I brought you. Now let's listen to the band play, y'all. Fun fact from the end of the world, you might have gathered, this game was not originally a straight Titanic game. The original concept for A Journey Out of Time, pitched to Cyberflix by Andrew Nelson, was of a steampunk starship suspended in a vast void. The Titanic part came from Nelson's fascination with how quickly the ship sank, and how cool it could be to use that real-time element in a game. The more you know. Hey guys. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. I know our time on this earth is limited. Thank you for spending a little bit of yours with me. I really appreciate that. Now, if you would just do me a little favor, hit that like button and that subscribe button. That really means the world to me as a small creator. Thank you so much. My name is Mercy, so today I will be mercifully short and just say thank you again for watching. Be good to each other and take care of yourself out there, okay? Bye!